personally am extraordinarily enthusiastic about, because it is an encyclopedic, comprehensive understanding about why white people act and behave in the way that they do. Something that seems is slipping away from us as an objective to get through this life in the ways that our enslaved African foreparents understood. They did not have the formal knowledge gained through public schooling or higher education, but they knew to get through the day, to get through the week, to get through this life, to survive these people, they had to have an understanding of some sort about why they act, why the white man acts and behave in the way that they do. We have been socialized to perceive that we're equal, that was an important goal to achieve. Reading this book, hopefully you'll be saved from that illusion. I don't believe that you can defeat an enemy or find your liberation without a thorough understanding of your oppressor. You cannot recapture your African mind if you do not know the worldview, the philosophy, and explanation for the behavior of your oppressor. A sister said to me tonight, one of the Africans in this world we live in now, one of the problems that Africans have is that we do not understand the difference between ourselves and the Eastern and the Western white man. The Eastern and the Western white man. I believe that the answer to many of these questions are thoroughly explained, thoroughly documented, thoroughly referenced in this book, Yurugu. Having studied as thoroughly as possible, and I believe studying isolated and singularly by yourself is not enough. That's why, one of the reasons why I'm a member of this organization. But what bit of knowledge I've gained, I see this as being one of the classic works that has been put together, like that of Sheikh Diop and Chancellor Williams and so forth and so on. You know the people. This is, for me, the book of the year, maybe the book of the decade. Therefore, it gives me great pleasure, great honor, to bring to you this humble sister, this queen, this scholarly warrior, Sister Dr. Marimba Ani. Put your hands together.
We're going to begin with libation, which we didn't do yet. Okay, so Brother Richard is going to do that.
What we will ask you to do in pouring this libation is for each one of you to call an ancestor, one known to you and one known to us all. And that will invoke the ancestors with us. Nan Williams.
Delphine Douglas Richards. Nalanda. John G. Jackson.
Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, Asante Wa. Maurice Bishop. Harriet Tubman.
Frederick Douglass.
Nanny.
Malcolm X. Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Let our words, sounds, vibrations be heard by them, and let them be amongst us now to receive the message that the sister Ani presides.
Madasi. Hotep, everyone. Madasi. Alafia. Wahantase. Habari Gani. We greet each other in the languages of our ancestors. We begin to use the languages of our ancestors, and that begins to shape our consciousness as it was meant to be. You can't hear you can't hear me speak? The drums are interfering with you hearing me speak? Oh. Good. I'm glad. Sorry. I say Madasi to the chapter study group of ASCAC for having me here. Madasi is thank you in Tree language of the Akan people, now mostly in Ghana, also in Togo, Asante Sana, and Kiswahili. And I say Madasi to all of you who have come here this evening. It's wonderful to see you. We have an after-school program in Harlem. This is our 12th year. It's called the African Heritage After School Program. And one of the very first youngsters to be in the program is here this evening, my daughter, Karimu. I call her my daughter. Karimu, would you stand up? Very, very proud of these young people. The very first place that we met was in a little store called Harlem Graphic Arts. It was on 125th Street, and you had to walk upstairs to get to it. Much, much smaller than the room that we're in now. Not really even half this size, because it was very narrow. If you could picture that. Maybe a quarter of the size of this room. And it was owned and run by Brother Amos Wilson. And we needed space, and he allowed us to be there. We would come there on Tuesdays and Fridays for 2 hours each, and we would put up a curtain, and we would sit behind the curtain with the youngsters. They were between the ages of 6 and 10. Karimu remembers all of this. While people would come in to buy books and to do copying and so forth in the front part. This is one of my memories of Brother Amos. So we were close. We worked closely together. He and I, before that, had gone to graduate school together at the New School for Social Research. Amos was, above all, a critical thinker. I mean, I think that was the power of who he was, intensely so. So it is very appropriate that we should be talking about critical thinking, as Brother Richard has said tonight. This Sunday at 4 p.m. on 125th Street in the heart of Harlem at the Victoria Theater, there will be a celebration of Amos, his spirit, and the work that he has given us. So anybody who wants to just take the drive up to New York, just be there, and the community will be there. That's the Victoria Theater. It's in the same block as the Apollo, 125th Street at 4 p.m. And I do believe that some people are planning to go, so you might want to talk to people after today. One of the things, we call the spirits of the ancestors because we believe that they are a part of our community, that we are not whole unless they are with us, and that we need their energy to make us strong and to keep us focused. So when we pour libation, it's real. It is not just a matter of honoring people and calling their names for that purpose, but it is also calling forth their energy. And we need to understand these kinds of concepts more. We need to get more deeply into who we are. And as Brother Richard said, the African worldview. One of the things that we also believe is that the African life is a process of transformation. We go through a series of transitions in our life. Brother Amos is now beginning a transition, and that his spirit needs our spirit to help him make the transition. So if you can be aware of that, and as we have these celebrations, these ceremonies, that's what we're doing. We're helping that process to take place as it should take place. So understand that you need to participate in that. You need to meditate on that. You need to pour libation for his spirit daily. In fact, you should be pouring libation daily anyway. And we can talk more about that at another time. Now, I want to take you on a journey this evening. It will take a while. I hope that you have the patience and the seriousness to come with me on that journey. I think that you do. It's wonderful to see you, to see your faces and to feel your spirit. So trust me and come with me. Critical analysis is what we're talking about, as well as critical thinking. I'm going to focus on analysis. You cannot effectively analyze anything critically without having a frame of reference. You must begin with a frame of reference, come from a frame of reference. It's where you're coming from. It is your foundation. It's what allows you to think. It is a context, and it is only within the context that things become meaningful. And it is a context which allows you to focus your thought. For us, the African worldview centers us in the African paradigm that is model for thinking. The African paradigm model is a basis for conceptualization. By that word, we simply mean how we think about thought, what we think truth is, what we think reasoning is. So that all critique, all analysis proceeds from a conceptual framework. And we now, as African people, need to consciously construct our own conceptual framework. We have been using a Eurocentric conceptual framework without understanding that that's what we have been doing. That brings us then to the reality, the concept of culture, how important culture is. Culture is a context for us. It is where life life takes on meaning.